Hello and welcome to the Culture Swally, a podcast dedicated to Scottish news and pop culture. My name is Nicky and I'm joined as always by the man who once visited the Hole in Amsterdam but only had his own cock in his hand in the cubicle. It's Greg. How are you today, my man?
I'm alright. I'm a bit annoyed because for some reason they've decided to lift the pavement right in front of our drive.
Oh dear.
Even though this street is only a couple of years old, they've decided to lift the pavement right at the end of our driveway. And they only came to tell us on Thursday that they were starting, like, straight away, basically. So we're having to park down the road. And I saw the foreman, so I was fucking raging. And I said, how long is this going to take? And he said, it will take a week. But every time I go past or I drive in, they're all just fucking sitting about. No one's doing any fucking work. I can see them out my window just now. And they're literally just fucking standing around with shovels in their hands doing fuck all. When I took my wife out earlier, she was off to a brunch, and I dropped her off. And when I came back, they're like lying, sleeping on the pavement outside not on the pavement outside my house, because that's a fucking pavement outside my house anymore, but on the pavement opposite. Fucking enraging.
So it's a case that this job would probably take half a day, but it's being extended to a week. Well, yeah.
Be longer than a week. I fucking guarantee the next time we record, I'll be sitting here fucking fuming because they'll still be dicking about at the end of the drive.
First world problems, mate. Somebody's digging up the road outside your drive. Oh, God. Oh dear, terrible. No, I can. It's an inconvenience, of course it is. I can be fully on board with you there, but that's terrible. Oh well. So going out to give them a cup of tea and ask them, if they can shove along or anything.
No, because they're not doing it. If I might be compelled to take a little bit of refreshment out to them if I felt that they were actually putting a fucking shift in. You know what I mean? But they're not.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm literally looking at a guy just now. He's standing with his hands balanced on top of the shaft of his fucking shovel and one hand on his hip, watching another guy with a fucking pickaxe. Honestly.
He's the foreman. Obviously. How's everything else, buddy?
Yeah,
anything else good happening? Yeah.
All good. I went to watch a game of baseball last night at the
very nice
Dubai Sevens ground. I didn't stay for it all because it's fucking boring, mate. It is boring.
What's the team called in Dubai?
So there's the Mumbai Falcons, Falcons that is, and the Karachi Cobras. It was a pretty low-scoring game. I wouldn't say that many of the players on either side were indigenous to the cities that they represent. They were all Americans.
Okay.
Pretty much. There was the odd Hispanic guy. There was even one Filipino guy. But yeah, fucking hell. I mean, I just, there's all these little prompts that you're supposed to do stuff. There's a bit where they play the kind of Addams Family theme. If the batter, doesn't swing for the first pitch, I think it is, they play the Addams Family theme for some reason. I don't know why, I don't know what you're supposed to do. And every now and again, they play this sort of cavalry kind of bugle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You know what I mean?
It's to get the crowd enthused. They're just copying, obviously, what they do at American baseball games.
I get it. I understand that. But I don't understand what they do in American games either when that happens. What are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to start a Mexican wave? Are you supposed to shout something out, at the appropriate moment? I don't know. I don't know what to do. Just sort of sitting there feeling like a bit of a fanny. And nobody else seems to know what to do either.
You need to have a nice little good stadium announcer like that, though. That's the good thing. I remember John McCroovey at Aberdeen was always very good. He got into a lot of hot bother quite a few times with stuff that he was playing. I remember when Celtic came to Pittodrie once, whilst the Celtic team was running out, he played the Cher hit Gypsies, Tramps and Thieves.
That is absolutely 19 karat solid gold shithousery of the highest order.
He got into trouble for that, but then the following season, when Rangers were at Pittodrie, he played the Imperial March when they were coming out as well, which wasn't quite good.
Did you see Did you see that little? There's like it's not a Facebook account that I follow, but I do follow a couple of clothing Facebook accounts, and I think as a result, I got one from a page called Dressers, and it's these like old retired casuals like harking back to their glory days when they were, you know, going about in their Pringle jumpers and their all that gear, and their deerstalker hats, and somebody had put a picture on it saying it's Rangers like HMS squad or something like that walking through Dundee train station in 1984 or something like that. Like people started listing what HMS might stand for, and the one that made me fucking absolutely weep was somebody put HMS hand me soap. Hand me soap, honestly. I was fucking killing myself. Absolutely killing it. Brilliant.
Well, you can maybe bring that to the baseball.
Yeah, I need to go again tonight. The reason I was there is because we're sponsoring. So I need to go again tonight. I mean, I didn't stay for the whole 9 innings. 9 innings, right? I didn't stay for the whole 9 innings because it started at 8 o'clock and at 11:15 we were in like, we just got out the 4th. And I was like, I need to get the fuck out of here. But, so I'm not going to stay as long tonight. But the thing about it is I was driving home and I was thinking this about American sports, right? So there was a rule that they did make the effort to describe last night called the fireball, right? And basically, the fielding side, I think if they strike a batter out or they catch a batter out, then that signals the end of the innings. It doesn't matter whether it's the first batter or the third batter, because after like 3 batters are out, they swap over, right? That's the end of the innings. The end of the first half of that innings. So the rule is that if the fielding side strike or catch a batter, that's the end of the innings, regardless of whether the bases are loaded or what, right? Now, I know that rule's just been added to try and hurry the game along at some point, right? Because somebody in their wisdom has been watching baseball and said this game is fucking far too long. Not a lot happens, really. You know, I mean, like I saw 2 home runs, right? Actually, the first pitch ended up with a home run. You know what I mean? Like the batter struck a home run, so that was pretty good, right? I was like, all right, maybe this is going to be an exciting night. After that, it's the lowest scoring game of baseball I've ever seen. I've seen 2 games. That's my second game, right? But like 2, I think like when we left, I think it was like 2 runs to 1 or something, or 3 runs to 1 or something like that. And I think American football was a bit like that as well, right? It's like a few moments of frantic action when the ball's in play, and then a setup that got reset, which seems to take fucking ages. Now, I just don't get it. And I've heard people, like I heard Bill Burr like having a wee dig at football, like not like the original football, not American football, soccer, and he was sort of slagging it off because obviously it's not a high scoring game, football. You know, unless like a team gets absolutely taken to the cleaners and loses like 10-0, which like fucking once in a blue moon something like that would happen. It's a low scoring game, whereas American spell, apart from baseball, but he was sort of slagging it off because I think American football and basketball, they're high scoring games, but they fucking take forever. You know, it's slow and it's not worth it for that little frantic bit of action. It's just not for me. Okay. No offense to American sports fans, but it's just not for me.
I mean, I used to like basketball when I was younger, but then I kind of grew out of it. Because it is a bit boring, because the teams just go up the court and score, and that's it. I do like American football, and I mean, my big one that I'd like is ice hockey.
That is faster. That is the exception to the rule, though. That is quite a fast game.
Yeah. So that's, I think, why I like it. But I like American football. I quite like the tactics involved of that. But yeah, I have to admit, baseball, I've been to a game and I think we left before the end because it was just like, this is a bit boring. But never know. But maybe they should have implemented the fireball.
Perhaps.
Wonderful. Well, that's the sports roundup concluded. Shall we have a look and see what's been happening in Scotland over the last couple of weeks?
Cue the jingle.
This is the Outer Hebrides Broadcasting Corporation, and here is what's been going on in the news.
Okay, Greg, what have you seen in the news over the last couple of weeks that has caught your lovely eye?
Well, ironically, my first story is a sports-adjacent story. It comes from the Daily Record last week, which was the 3rd of November. And the headline reads, Scots firm gets red card from Killjoy FA, banning Lionesses draft excluders. So for our overseas listeners, the Lionesses are what the English media have dubbed English football ladies national team, because they've had a little bit of success over the last 3 or 4 years. Fair play to them. So the article goes on to say, Etsy brand Stopper FC sells the novelty pillows, which shows players performing the draft excluder role at free kicks. If I can describe that to you, it basically it's basically pictures of the Lionesses. So like if they're all standing in a row to block a free kick, and someone lies down behind the standing players.
Yes.
Yeah, that's basically what it shows.
Okay, I've got you.
That feels like a relatively new thing.
Yeah, it is. It has come, I'd say, in recent few years, because I guess there was a tactic for a while of people, when they're taking a free kick, obviously the wall jumps and people were just shooting it low under the wall. And
right.
You've got to time it well, but now some poor sod usually has to lie on the ground.
Yeah, get it in the back.
Block it. Yeah.
Well, England's football authority have objected to the Edinburgh firm using the Lionesses.
Oh, for God's sake.
Company boss Richie Crossman said, I couldn't believe it when we received the complaint. We're just a small company trying to make an honest living. We don't use the Three Lions logo, so to complain about a common word, which has been in the dictionary for centuries, is bonkers. I mean, you can't argue with that logic. He goes on to say, we don't have the financial clout to object, so we've removed the phrase. But there's more than one way to skin a big cat. We've found an easy way to get them back on sale while giving Lioness buyers first dibs. Cheeky Richie added, I worry for Sir David Attenborough's next documentary.
Oh my God. Brilliant.
He needs to watch how he refers to female lions, otherwise he'll be getting an angry legal notice. Stopper FC sells more than 40 player novelty cushions at £34 a pop, as well as 30 bar blades. I don't know if they mean like a bottle opener there.
Oh yeah.
We told last year how yobs were foiled trying to torch the firm's Celtic pillows on bonfire night. Richie came up with the idea to produce the stoppers after watching players lying on the pitch behind defensive walls. Scotland heroes Scott McTominay, John McGinn, Andy Robertson and Ben Gannon Doak are also available, along with a host of other stars. So once again, the FA ruining it for every cunt.
Now, obviously, I can see the fact that Lionesses is trademarked and they will be producing merchandise with that. I can see that. But come on, it's a fucking doorstop and it's an Etsy store. But yeah, it's because it's an Edinburgh-based firm. That's the only explanation I have.
It's just the English try to keep Scottish enterprise down, as usual.
Just oppression continues to this day. It's shocking, Greg. Can't believe it. Who the fuck would want to buy that anyway? Is my other question.
Well, I mean, I guess he was exporting them to England. But the thing is, right? They don't call the men's English team the Lions, because you've already got the British Lions rugby team, and so they know they can't do that, right?
Yeah.
But they've decided, and the media has called the ladies' team the Lionesses. The FA haven't come up with that. I guess they've trademarked it though, if they're taking action against Richie and his doorstoppers.
Yeah, they must have. Yeah, because I was like, well, what is the England team name? Because I know it's like Three Lions, but that is their nickname, the Three Lions.
I mean, we've got some names for them in Scotland, but I don't think They'd probably struggle to trademark Lemon.
Yeah, they would. I think they wouldn't be allowed with the expletive language or, no, definitely wouldn't be allowed.
Anyway, yeah.
Oh, well.
Once again, one in the eye for Scottish Enterprise from English overlords.
Shocking.
If you're going to buy a draft excluder, pillow, what player would you like to keep your draft at?
Oh, is it got to be a footballer? What, a lioness or?
I don't think a lioness, but I don't know. I guess an easier question would have been, who's your favourite player at the moment?
I mean, lioness, I probably would have went with Mary Earps because that's the only one I can name.
The only one I can name is Lisa Stanway, and believe it or not, the only reason that I'm able to name her is because she comes from Barrow-in-Furness, and her granny was a primary school teacher of mine when I first moved to England. Yeah, I don't know her granny's first name. I only know her as Mrs. Stanway.
In terms of a football player, I don't know. I'm thinking I wouldn't mind a draft excluder of Bret Hart giving the sharpshooter to Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
That would be quite a nice little, or maybe like Ric Flair doing the figure of four leg lock. That would be quite good. Footballer, I don't know. I'm trying to think of anyone that I would have. I mean, like a Scotland national player. I don't know.
Who do you admire at the moment?
I still always like John McGinn. He's always a good lad. I think he's a bit, fun.
Yeah.
I think he would be good. What about yourself? Would you have anyone that you would go with?
I don't know. I've not really been watching the football that much of late. I've just been, apart from like various sports documentaries, like the Wrexham one in particular.
You wouldn't have Paul Mullen as a draft excluder then?
Yeah, you know what? I like Paul Mullen. I do like Paul Mullen because he comes across really well.
Yeah. He's been hard done by. He fucking got them up to the fucking championship, and then all right, thanks, buddy. See you later, and jettisoned out on loan.
But it had some injuries, right? I don't know if he might have struggled a wee bit in the championship, maybe, potentially. I don't know. I mean, in my experience, like, footballers are fairly accepting of these sort of things. They sort of know how it goes, right? They've probably seen it happen to other players older than them when they're first kind of coming into the squads and stuff. And, they know that one day it's probably in the post for them as well. I'm sure he's probably done all right, Paul. You know what I mean? I'm sure he's made quite a lot of money through that Wrexham documentary and everything there, plus he's footballing, And
I mean, the exciting thing is we'll get to see in the next series of Welcome to Wrexham if that crappy garage band have come up with a new song to replace the Paul Mullen one.
Fucking hell, that's the shittest song. It really is. Yeah, I've been following Wrexham's results. They're kind of mid-table. I think they've only won two games. I think they've only won 2 games all season, but they've had quite a lot of draws, not too many losses. So I think I think they'll probably be reasonably content with that because they know that. I'm sure they knew that there was no way they were going to rocket up to the top of the championship in the same way they did the other divisions. Because like you were saying on this podcast recently, it's like accepted as the toughest division, the championship, right?
Yeah.
So I think middle of the table-ish is probably quite good going, I think, for those guys.
I think I'd be happy with that. And it'll be interesting to see the next series, the documentary, as you know, they did it last season. They kind of sat Rob and Ryan down and they're like, right, well, the two options are we go for it, but if we don't do it, we're fucked. Or we just stay in this league, and they're both like, let's just fucking go for it. And they did. And they fair play, they achieved their goal. It'll be interesting to see, and I guess they can film it at a later date, this conversation, depending on how their league form goes, that if they're like, no, I think we should just try and stabilise in here for a few years. Whereas, behind the scenes, they've both been like, let's just fucking go for it. We'll get to the Premiership next season, but they'll re-edit it, so they didn't say that at all, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think that seems to be a degree of reality there. I mean, I see Sunderland are back in the Premiership and not doing too badly at all. Yeah,
they're doing pretty well, yeah. That was a great documentary.
Yeah. I think by the end of the week, they were like 4th in the table or something. Like, it's pretty good going.
Yeah.
They were.
There does seem to be a good trend of that. I think last season, like Forest, they came up and then they finished like in the top 6 or something. But
fucked it now, though, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. Yeah, massively fucked it. So it'll be interesting to see if Sunderland can keep it up. But yeah, good stuff.
Anyway, that's I don't know who I'd pick. I don't know. Olivia Rodrigo. I know she doesn't play for any football teams, but she looked pretty good on a big pillow. Anyway, that's my first story. What's your first story this week?
Well, I will stick with a sporting theme then, Greg, for my story. I wasn't going to, but I'm going to now. This is from the Scottish Sun this week, and the headline is In the Doghouse. Now, we're going for the glamour of the Lionesses into fucking Lowland League Scottish football here, mate. A Lowland League side have left punters barking mad with their decision to ban dogs from their Scottish Cup third round tie. Tranette say they made the move for their crunch clash against Inverness Cally Thistle at the end of the month on safety grounds. Club chiefs say it wasn't taken lightly, as they know many of their fans like to take their four-legged friends to Foresters Park. It's the first time the fourth-placed Lowland League side, who are 3 points off league leaders Clydebank, are to face the League One leaders. Capacity at Foresters Park is around 2,300, with 44 seats. And the club are expecting a bumper crowd when they entertain the Highlanders. In a statement on X, the club said, "Due to anticipated crowd size, and for the comfort and safety of all supporters attending our upcoming Scottish Cup third round tie against Inverness Cally Thistle, we've made the difficult decision to implement a no dogs policy for this fixture. We know many of our supporters enjoy bringing their four-legged friends to the park, and this decision has not been made lightly. However, with increased attendance and activity on this day, the measure is necessary to ensure a safe and enjoyable environment for everyone." Scottish football fans, of course, couldn't miss the opportunity to have a bit of fun on the socials. One fan pointed out, "Football without dogs is nothing," in reference to the famous Jogstein quote. Another joked, "My dog is absolutely devastated and won't leave the house now. Cheers, guys." A third commented, the most obvious one, "This is barking mad." Recently, another Lowland League club claimed a unique first by offering season tickets for dogs. Cowdenbeath, who play at Central Park, said, "The Blue Brazil have officially become the first football club to launch season tickets for dogs, giving loyal four-legged friends the chance to join their humans on match day at Central Park. The quirky new initiative celebrates Cowdenbeath's reputation as one of Scotland's most welcoming and community-focused clubs." So there you go, Greg. Dogs banned from the Scottish Cup tie. Now, I read this, and part of me is like, oh, this is a little kind of parochial news story for Scotland as to make people laugh. I remember going to, I think it was Cooter against maybe Cove, when I was a teenager with my cousin, and we took his dog with us, and we just stood at the sidelines with a dog watching the football. So the highlight of that for me was getting a pie. But I can understand, a lot of people probably do take their dogs to like the low Highland League football, and they're probably devastated if can't take Bessie to the game now.
Well, I mean, at best they're going to be a terrace, right? But it's probably a lot of just standing around a field.
Well, yeah, because they've got a capacity of 2,300, but there's only 44 seats, so there must be a rammy for those seats on a match day.
Well, they probably give those seats to the elderly and the disabled first of all. Probably,
You would hope so.
To be fair, I mean, I guess it's probably, if they're anticipating a lot of people, there's maybe a little bit of dog welfare in there as well. You know what I mean? Because some dogs are probably quite happy sitting at their owner's feet, surrounded by hundreds of cheering and shouting people, and it might make some dogs quite nervous, right? And so maybe that's why. I mean, can you imagine Bobby at a lower Highland League game?
No, that's what I think about when I'm like that. I'm like, it'd be nice for some dogs, and then I think about my little four-legged, dearly departed friend. Not a fucking chance. He would be trying to grab that ball. He would be, even when we're walking the streets. I made the mistake of when we were in Dubai, I bought him a football for the garden, and we used to kick it about, and he fucking loved it. And then anytime he saw someone with a football, he just wanted to get at it. And it was like, which is quite difficult when you're walking about and kids are playing football in the street. So no, definitely, I think it's a very a safe measure to implement. So unfortunately, dogs not allowed at the football. It's just political correctness gone mad, mate. What are we supposed to do?
I have been thinking a lot about having a dog recently.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I always had dogs when I was growing up. And then we had our wee dog when we lived in Scotland. We had to get him adopted when we moved to Kuwait. But luckily he went to a friend of ours, so we were able to see how he got on until he came to the end of his life. The only thing is, like, here, it's fine at this time of the year because we're in the good weather time.
Yeah.
You know, and I could be out walking and running with a wee dog and stuff like that. But it's the summer. I feel so bad for them in the summer because even at night, it's still pretty hot to take them out. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of, like what you did with Bobby, you know, there's a lot of opportunities to rescue dogs here. You know what I mean? So I've been thinking quite a lot about it. But yeah, I think I'd have to wait until I'm back in a more sort of temperate climate, I think.
Yeah.
And then just have a wee pal of my own to take for walks and runs and sit in my knee and all that.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. The best thing in the world. But I mean, obviously in Dubai, there's a lot of, there's a couple of big indoor dog parks you can take the dog to. I used to take Bobby every weekend to my second home, knacking him out for the day. But yeah, in the summer, it's not fun, obviously. For all involved having to do. Okay. What else have you seen this week, buddy?
Well, this one's an interesting one. So this one comes from the Scottish Sun. The headline reads, Lewd reads, full list of 245 banned books in Scots libraries revealed, including a manual on how to make poison. It includes publications from terror groups, pedo networks, you gotta love the Sun, child beaters, Nazi hunters, bogus health gurus, and even magicians.
Oh.
So the Scottish National Library has removed access to hundreds of dodgy books, including a manual on how to make a weapon of mass destruction. They've put 245 titles in a restricted section which cannot be accessed by members of the public for legal reasons. It includes publications from terror groups, pedo networks, child beaters, Nazi hunters, bogus health gurus, and even magicians. Accessing them is illegal, except for cops and officials who need to see them for special reasons, including court cases. A 2006 guide, How to Make and Use a Homemade Weapon of Mass Destruction, is among the restricted items. It was credited to the Scottish separatist group, said to be the political wing of the Scottish National Liberation Army. The pamphlet gave details of an effective weapon capable of killing thousands of people, and it came out amid a Home Office terrorism probe into SNLA threats to put lethal chemicals in English cities' water supplies. Other publications to have had public access denied include ones by a child beater, a bogus health guru, and a magician. Alison Stevenson of the library says, it takes a lot for something to be withdrawn. We don't take it lightly, and all the ones that are withdrawn are very serious matters. The grape cure, that's grape as in the fruit, from 1969 was the supposed benefits of eating the fruit alone. So eat nothing but grapes. But it was barred after somebody tried it and died. Magician Mark Raffles told in his book The Pickpocket Secrets in 1982 how to nick wallets and watches. And Eric Wildman's 1950 book, Common Sense Punishment, gave advice on hitting kids to educate them with physical beatings.
Jesus.
The Little Red School Book, written in 1970 by two Danish teachers, was withdrawn for legal reasons, including obscenity. I'm not sure. I'm kind of intrigued to know. And a 1999 biography of Labour politician Lord Peter Mandelson was also removed following a libel case. And I see he's in hot water again for his association with Jeffrey Epstein, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, these are just, I mean, I think there's a link to the 245 books. I don't think we want to list 245 restricted books. In fact, the Scottish Sun, it's not a link to all the books. It's just a book to a section on the Scottish Sun's website called Books and Reading. A picture of Irvine Welsh there, a picture of Outlander, a picture of Bobby Gillespie.
Do you ever have or read the big one when we were younger was the Anarchist's Cookbook?
Yeah, I remember that one. I remember somebody had printed it off the early internet link in the mid-90s. There was like a sort of printed out, bound A4 volume of it. I remember we tried to dry out banana skins and smoke them following following directions in that book because the liar that wrote it reckoned that banana skins could get you high.
Yeah, I remember there was a guy I was kind of friendly-ish with that had downloaded, or his brother had downloaded it from the internet, and I remember him showing me a video of him and another mate making like a homemade kind of explosive device and putting it in a bin in West Hill and blowing it up, and they were thinking this was the greatest thing ever. And I think I must have been about 13, 14 at the time, and I just being like, you know, girls exist, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, it was around about that time I realised I'd outgrown those friends, and they just weren't interested in girls and stuff. So they were still happy to make bombs and stuff. But yeah, I differ. But wow, amazing banned books. And I guess, you would think there's so much. Everything's available online now. I mean, obviously you'll get flagged if you're looking at how to poison someone and stuff. But it's amazing that they're still banning these kind of things and books, and yeah, it's incredible.
There was one, I remember somebody at work having like the Satanists something.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember what the book was. I remember
No, the Satanic Verses.
No, not the Salman
Rushdie
one. No. It was, I can't remember what it was. It was like the sort of Satanist Bible or something like that it was called. I can't remember.
Banned books. Have you got any books you shouldn't have?
I don't think so. Well, I've got the funniest book I've got. I think I sent you and our mutual friend a picture of it. After my grandfather passed away, I took some of his books, because he had some hardbacks of some James Bond books from the 1960s, which I've got. Yeah. I've actually got them here on my bookcase. And one of the books I took was, because he was in the army in the Second World War, my grandfather, as I think I've mentioned before, and he was given a little manual, basically to help him avoid catching the clap. But he obviously was going to be off as a young soldier in foreign countries fighting the Nazis and their allies. And amongst the many life-saving things that he was issued with as part of his soldier kit was a wee book on how to avoid catching gonorrhea.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, it's a good and handy guide to have, and an essential item, I think.
And as far as I know, it was 100% effective.
Oh, well, there you go. That's it.
As far as I know.
That's what they should be giving out then to soldiers. That's perfect. Good stuff. Yeah, very good.
Anyway, so if anybody knows anything else about the Little Red Book, we're interested to know. Just write in and tell us what that's about. Anyway, that's the Scottish band books. What's your next story this week?
My next story comes from the Scottish Sun, Greg, and it is beginning to look a lot like Christmas. The headline is Festive Fiasco. Tesco have been forced to bin a deeply offensive Christmas card which appears to poke fun at diabetes. The supermarket giant came under fire in Scotland for the festive offering with the message, "Remember, it just isn't Christmas unless you push your body to the brink of alcoholism and diabetes." Ayrshire-based Loughlin's Legacy, who campaigned to raise awareness of the condition, branded the item disgusting. Charity chief Leslie Murdoch, who has a child with diabetes, said, "Making light of any form of diabetes, a serious, life-changing condition that affects millions of people, is not appropriate or humorous. I'm certain Tesco would not consider it acceptable to joke about any other medical condition, so why is diabetes treated differently? This kind of messaging reinforces harmful stereotypes and undermines the daily challenge faced by those living with diabetes and their families." It's understood the card was sold by a third-party seller on Tesco's online marketplace. The charity has urged the retail chain to review processes to prevent similar issues in future. However, some shoppers were unsympathetic towards the Christmas card quip. One said, "I don't believe Tesco intended to cause offence. It sounds like a light-hearted festive banter." But Diabetes UK hit back saying, Diabetes is not a joke. A spokesperson added, comments like the one on the Christmas cards fuel the blame and judgment people with diabetes face on a daily basis and undermine why we're working so hard to combat the harm stigma causes. Is this story appropriate? Is it funny enough, or is it a bit too harsh?
I don't think it's harsh. I think, it's quite funny that Tesco have made such a cunt of it.
Anyway, Tesco were commented and they've apologised for their blunder and have launched an urgent probe. So, offensive Christmas cards, Greg. I mean, I can see that. I mean, they've gone with the diabetes angle here, but alcoholism's mentioned as well. And that's, I would say, a bigger thing, a killer in Scotland. Yeah. I mean, they're linked, obviously. So it's, why is there no alkies offended at that?
Because alkies are too busy getting pissed to be offended. That's why.
Getting pissed and having a laugh and buying Christmas cards like that because they think it's funny. I can see the offensive, and they're right. Other conditions and illnesses aren't made fun of. It's, they're not saying like, remember, it isn't Christmas unless you get cancer or contract syphilis at the office Christmas party or something. So yeah, maybe it's right. Maybe it is it's an ill-judged card. I think. Yeah,
I think so. I mean, I've said before, everyone's a bit too quick to be offended these days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not right to make fun of people, like individuals, because of something that they suffer with. It wouldn't be funny to make fun of like a fat guy who is diabetic for being diabetic. I don't think there's anything wrong with making fun of the illness itself. You know what I mean?
It's kind of reclaiming a bit of power, isn't it? If you're making fun out of it, and but I don't know. Obviously, some people do get offended.
I mean, people just look for things to be offended by. I saw Ricky Gervais being interviewed, and he was his sort of viewpoint on being offended. He's like, that you can find something. If I make a joke and you don't think it's funny, then fine, I get that. But it's arrogant to say that you're offended. That joke offends me. You know what I mean? Well, why? It's a joke. You just don't find it funny. You're not offended. You're offended if somebody comes up to you and says, "Haul you cunt," Unless it's somebody you know, in which case they're probably just greeting you if it's in Glasgow, right? Like it's a friendly greeting.
Yeah.
But, I don't think there's anything wrong with making fun of an illness or a condition. I think it's wrong to make fun of somebody for having that illness or condition. I mean, diabetes for me, it must just be one of the worst things to have to manage, especially if you're having to check your blood sugar, if it's the type of diabetes where you have to check your blood sugar and take insulin and be very careful about what you eat, and because you're only like a couple of missteps away or like a mistake away from perhaps doing yourself serious damage or being in a coma or worse, right? So it's a horrible thing. So it would be horrible to make fun of somebody who was having to deal with all that. I don't think there's anything wrong with making fun of diabetes as a condition, though.
Yeah. No, there we go.
That's my viewpoint on it.
And the views of the Culture Swally, I'll take that on board. But a little bit of a hot bother with Tesco's Christmas card, but never mind. Hopefully everyone has a healthy Christmas and enjoys. Have you seen anything else this week, man?
No. And of course, the next time you hear us, we'll be up to our Oaksters and Christmas spirit, because it'll be the first of our Christmas episodes.
It will be. It certainly will be. Christmas episode coming up next episode on the Culture Swally. Yeah, definitely. I was going to say next, but we've got something. Oh, well, though, we are discussing a Christmas episode and what we're talking about today.
We are indeed.
I'm going to leave you. I'm not going to leave you. I'm going to leave this section with them. It's just a quote that I read. There was a news story in Glasgow Live this week about a burst sewer in Shawlands, one of your old stomping grounds.
Yeah.
And there was a post written to Scottish Water, which I just wanted to read out. So it was a burst water main in Shawlands, and somebody wrote to Scottish Water and said, "Hey, Scottish Water, just wondering when you're going to come and permanently fix the collapsed sewer pipe on Hector Road in Shawlands. I don't want to sound pushy, but it's been over 2 weeks since you first came out, and it's now spewing human turds all over the pavement. It would be a real treat if residents of all ages didn't have to avoid a jobby geyser whilst walking down the street." So yeah, I just like the use of the term jobby guys.
Yeah. I think it would be a real treat.
Just lovely fucking human shit in the streets of Shawlands. Never mind. Okay. Right, before we go on to what we're going to be talking about today, let's have a little word from our sponsors.
The legend of a lamp with awesome power. The chosen must find it and save the world.
Aye, it's us!
And the biggest panto in Scotland.
No, and the world! Aladdin with Jared Kelly, Julie Wilson, Nimmo and Eric Potts at the King's Glasgow from 1st of December.
It was your choice this week for, I think, our last sort of non-festive choice of the year. So why don't you introduce this week's choice?
Thanks very much, Greg. That was a bit drawn out. Okay, thank you, buddy. Well, today we will be discussing the third series of classic Scottish comedy, Two Doors Down, a show which centres around a lovely couple, Beth and Eric, and their insufferable neighbours who pop round every episode. Starring Alex Norton, Arabella Weir, Elaine C Smith, Jonathan Watson, and Doon Mackican. The show started with a one-off special in 2013 and then started as a series in 2016. Back in December 2021, we covered the original pilot, and then in September last year, we looked at the first proper series of the show. But rather than do series 2, I thought we'd skip ahead to series 3, because Jazz is replaced by Gordon, Sophie is departed, and I think this is what I think of as classic Two Doors Down, before the introduction of Alan and Michelle, but on watching it, it's kind of not, but we'll discuss that when we go into this. So, Greg, series 3 of Two Doors Down. I always forget, did you watch this as it aired, or did you catch up on it later on?
No, I caught up with it a lot later on, like the show, that is. Like I saw the pilot when it came out, because I was in Scotland when it came out, and I remember the pilot, but I watched it when I was back in Scotland in 2021. My dad was in the hospital and I was doing my COVID 10 days self-isolation. I just rattled through like all the series up to that point, I think, over those 10 days, you know. So I think it took me up to maybe series 4, I think. So I think I was looking here on Wikipedia. Series 5 was 2021 and then 2022. Okay. So yeah. So the first 4 series, you know, and I felt that, I remember feeling like the first time I watched series 3 that it had really kind of hit its stride. I felt like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, the characters were all well established by this point, although they do introduce Gordon, and then the vast episode, Alan and Michelle are introduced. But the sort of core of Beth, Eric, Cathy, Colin, and fucking hell, Greg, come on, mate.
Christine.
You know, they just really well-established characters, you know, and I was thinking, well, I wonder if it's because, you know, the actors are really own the characters by this point, if it just made it easier to write for them at that point. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it probably did, because you know exactly what you're going. I mean, that's the thing with Two Doors Down. It's so different from a lot of other shows in that the setup of every episode is essentially the same. Like, the Colin, Cathy and Christine descend upon Beth and Eric, who are doing something, but they get interrupted by them, and then Gordon and Ian come round.
Yeah.
And hilarity ensues. Now, there is a departure in this series in terms of there is an episode outside of Beth and Eric's sitting room, and it's a strange series because, as I say, I picked it thinking, right, this is core and peak Two Doors Down. Gordon's there before Alan and Michelle arrive, but in reality, of the 6 episodes, you have 1 episode outside the house, and Cathy's not even in it. And then the last episode, Alan and Michelle are already there. So it's a bit strange. You've only really got like 4 episodes of peak. Well, 5 if you include the Christmas special, I suppose, of peak kind of Two Doors Down. But it's still, there are a couple of episodes in that run that are probably my favourites. I know you're a big fan of Eric's colon, and I mean, I'm a huge fan of that episode. And Fish Friday, when they're in the pub, is just an absolute classic episode. I guess the only disappointment really, I mean, we'll discuss Jazz versus Gordon as we go on, but the departure of Sharon Rooney as Sophie, which, obviously she went on to bigger and better things, being in the fucking Barbie movie and stuff. But it was it's a shame. You miss Sophie. And I know they're doing like a last episode kind of that's going to air over Christmas. I'm really hoping she would make an appearance. I doubt it, but it would be great. But I missed Sophie because she's such a great character.
She is a good character, but I think the character of Christine is so good that she doesn't really need Sophie. You know what I mean?
No.
And that the whole sort of thing, it kind of makes it a wee bit more kind of credible that Beth always asks her in, because you kind of get the feeling that Beth feels, as much as she is an imposition, feels a bit sorry for her. You know, she's there on her own and their daughter's living in council accommodation in North Wales. So I mean, I didn't really find myself missing Sophie that much. What I did go into this thinking, oh, brilliant, my favourite episode where Eric's recovering from his knackered colonoscopy. But the episode after it, where Colin and Cathy have been burgled, that episode, on this watch anyway, that episode really, really, really made me laugh. Like, even more than the whole invalided Colin episode. Invalided Eric episode. Really, really made me laugh.
That has, I think, two of my favourite Christine lines in that episode. And she doesn't swear in either of them, but it's just...
Can I guess one of them?
Yeah.
I think I've written it down. Is one of them, Gordon's trousers are too short and somebody shot their load into Cathy's knicker drawer?
No. But that's obviously number 3 that I could add to, and I forgot about that one. My two favourites are when she says that she sleeps with all her jewellery on, and she comes down to breakfast like Mr. T.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And my other favourite was when she says, that's the thing, because of the departure of Sophie, Pat at the back has a lot more references in this series. It's that she keeps a knife under her bed. It's for crackers and butter, but it could double up.
Yes. It's a rich seam of Christine lines, series 3.
Oh.
Another one I like is, I don't care if they've been running around with Peppa Pig or fucking self.
Oh, wait a minute. Sausages? £3?
Oh, they didn't have the ones you wanted. These are organic.
They're what?
They're organic. The pigs are allowed to run about wherever they want.
I don't care if they've been running about with Peppa fucking Pig herself, son. I'm not paying £3 for them.
The way she keeps referring to the people that broke into Cathy and Colin's as fucking scum every opportunity she gets, when her chat about fisting and trying to get her head around the whole hand, like Sooty. And when she's trying to work out which wall she lives through, and Eric's like, it's through that wall. She says, if you don't stop pointing at me, you'll be through the fucking window.
Similar to you, I have a whole section of my notes of Christine's best moments, and it is all her lines, and you've just rattled through quite a few of them. And I mean, we're obviously speaking about Christine. I think I'll build up to my favourite, of course, but you're right. I mean, in terms of the, on Fish Friday, the whole vegetarian thing with Gordon, that sounds fucking horrible, son. That's the thing with being a vegetarian. You always end up with the shittest thing on the menu. I think I do love the subtlety of Elaine C Smith's performances, because when in the Christmas episode where Gordon and Ian have given Madison a card and she says, is it cash or a voucher? And Beth says a voucher. The look she gives Gordon and Ian is just wonderful, of disgust that she wanted cash. When Alan and Michelle are around and they say they lived in East Kilbride, when they go out the room, she says to Colin, look up sex offenders from East Kilbride on your phone. But I think my absolute favourite is, I think it is the Burn Supper episode, when it is because they're speaking about Colin's ex, Yvonne, and they're speaking about Eric. And she says, I could just see him buying women fish suppers and trying to corner them in bus shelters.
I wasn't really serious with anybody before I met Beth. I went out with a few people.
Did you?
Well, not loads.
I always said to Cathy, I bet when you were younger, you had a nose for it.
Oh, aye. I can just see him buying women fish suppers and then trying to corner them in bus shelters.
Excuse me, I didn't do anything that everybody else wasn't doing.
Look, everybody's got exes, have we no? What's important is who we're with now.
Eric looks so upset and offended by that, but he's just saying that. It's not just saying Eric used to be a sex pest, it's the description of buying them fish suppers and cornering them in bus shelters. It's just, absolute genius and so funny. But yeah, Christine is just, we've spoken about Two Doors Down a couple of times, obviously, in the pilot, which of course she's not in, but then the first series. For Elaine C Smith to have not one, but two iconic characters. She's always Marydall. Always Marydall. But now she's Christine. And it's just a testament to Scottish comedy, but to her as an actor of how good she is that she can deliver those performances and such different characters as well, really.
Yeah. I mean, like completely different characters. And you're right. I mean, it's not just, our lines. It's our face.
Yeah.
Because like she could be a character who is sort of ignorant to if anybody says anything to take the piss out of her. You know what I mean? Or makes fun of her or whatever. But she hears it and she never reacts, really. She just sort of gives this sort of raised eyebrow kind of expression, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like she's thinking, I'll fucking remember that one.
She does kind of get her back, though, because there is I think it's in Fish Friday, when she is it's almost like a fish out of water when she's in the pub.
Yeah.
And Colin, when he's pissed, does come over and say, where's your broomstick and flying monkeys?
Yeah.
And she does get him back later when she calls him Wee Tufty, which...
And then when he comes round, when Michelle's and Alan are there, and she leans over Michelle and says, wait till you meet this tit. But one of my favourite scenes in this series is when they manage to convince Beth to make fresh chips. and she's showing everybody how to like blow them and all that, because Cathy's just kind of dug into hers and they're too hot. You got to cool down the heart of the chip, Cathy.
And that is where I think Two Doors Down just absolutely excels as a show, because it does take like the simple moments of life that you always think about and then you're just in hilarity laughing at. So for example, blowing on the chips is a perfect example of something. And the little times they kind of reminisce or they talk about something that is just so mundane. But it makes so much sense and it's just so funny the way they twist it. So yeah, like putting on the chips. I thought I'd written down a list, but I haven't by the look of things. Looking at my notes, I thought I'd written down a list of those things, but for some reason didn't. I would love to have seen. She didn't get on it. She says she applied to get on it. Christine on Wheel of Fortune.
Nicky Campbell and Karen Smiley. Was it Colin says? He says, I saw her scraping bird shit off her windscreen with a credit card. She wasn't very smiley that day.
What makes that so much funnier is that they all know Carol Smiley. And
no doubt. Yeah.
Their paths will have crossed many a time over the years. And to just make a joke about Carol Smiley, one of Scotland's sweethearts, is hilarious that they've done that. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, Christine is just, without a doubt, you're right. She doesn't need Sophie to bounce off, and it does almost work better. I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. That is kind of the reason that they always take her in, or she's just herself. She doesn't have Sophie anymore, so it's natural. So that's why it does work very well. And you're right. The other one that had me cracking up, I did say we will just be talking about Christine's lines, is when Gordon comes in and he says, "Hello, Christine, how are you?" And she just deadpan, "I've been to Wales." And the level of just depression, the sort of moroseness in her voice is just, beautiful. Just the way I've been to Wales.
She talks about Sophie's man. He comes down the stairs, he's bare feet in his underwear, and sits watching cartoons.
I've done myself an injustice here. I have got a section in my notes, the simple things that make you love the show, in terms of the blowing on the chips. The chat in the pub about the 2 courses for $7.95 or 3 for $9.50. That is just that is a chat you would have. And you recognise that, but you don't want to bring it up. But you're kind of, everyone's after a bargain, but it's good. In the same episode, they're all struggling with the sachets of sauce in the pub. Again, a simple thing, but they make funny out of it. Christine wanting to be asked the questions when they've been at the pub quiz, but getting the answers wrong or just criticising the questions. That's such a thing. If you don't know the answer, you're like, that's a stupid fucking question. We all know people that are like that. Really do. And Alan saying you can eat 3 Twixes in a row.
Sometimes just likes to park his van somewhere quiet and eat. I mean, although he's only in that one episode in this series, Grado, as Alan, he made me laugh when he's talking about Michelle having an app on her phone that tells that there's a wee alarm that goes off that tells her the best time to get road.
I was fucking creasing up at that line. It's just, it's so brilliant. He's such a, simple character, Alan. Like, the introduction, he doesn't change in terms of, I did find it as a cup of tea, a Fanta, and a beer I've had offer, in terms of, like, just visit the neighbours. But he's a very, very funny character in the small part that we saw. No airs and graces, just says what it is, he's not kind of joining the conversation, but when it does come to stuff that he knows about or he likes, he is enthusiastic when they're speaking about the tile cutter and he's like, I've got one that'll cut through like fucking butter. And Michelle, that's it. Michelle horrified that he's the stuff he's saying in front of their new neighbours.
It's just, I think what I like about Two Doors Down is the way that all the characters are enthusiastic about the most sort of benign kind of Scottish things, like homemade chips made in a pan, for example, and how to make a good chip butty, this Burns Night episode with the haggis, all that kind of stuff. It's just, they get enthusiastic about it, It'd be, the banana bread. It'll be fine it'll be fine with a lot of butter on it. That kind of thing. It's just, and really the character who seems to instigate it a lot of the time is Colin.
Yeah.
When he's all enthusiastic about going up to the dump and all that kind of thing. And I'm sure we've all known people that have loved taking stuff to the dump. It's familiar,
Yeah, people do. And you ask your neighbours and friends, I'm going to the dump. You want anything you're wanting to take there? Another great Christine line when she says, Pat from the back took the base of a single bed on a bus to the dump. Such a throwaway line, but just makes you laugh so much that you never meet Pat, but you just envisage this old hard woman just taking the base of a single bed on a fucking Glasgow bus.
So on her way up to the hospital with some pajamas and a banana for her, and because she's been attacked by her dog getting a bit of thick ham at the fridge. It's the way it becomes about the ham and not about the fact that Pat has been bitten badly enough to be taken to the hospital, kept it overnight. It's that good thick ham for Marks and Spencer's.
She has you wouldn't say that Christine has a nasty streak as such. She does, but not hugely. I mean, the worst thing she does in the episodes we watched is out Gordon to his dad on the phone. And she doesn't do it on purpose. But when she realises what she's done, she just hands the phone back to him and walks away to get her turkey. And never mentions it again, never apologises, never asks how he's doing. It's just like, she knows she shouldn't have done that, but it's like, okay, if I ignore it, then it'll go away. And Brilliant.
She's a good example of that generation, because it's a generation that my mum comes from, and that generation cannot apologise for anything at all. No matter how major or minor the infraction might be, they'll never apologise for it. I don't know what it is. Maybe because their parents went through the war or what, but there's no apologies, and there's a lot of revisionist history as well. Because I was talking to somebody the other day about we're talking about it was Halloween the other week. We're talking about Halloween costumes, and I remember like my mum sent me off to a Cubs Halloween party dressed up. She made a dish dash from a dust sheet.
Yeah,
that my stepdad had for his motorbikes. Like she's quite crafty, my mum. She made a really good dish dash, and then she put foundation on my face so I would look Arabic, and drew a wee moustache with her eyeliner pen on my top lip, and then made me take one of my toy rifles with me over my shoulder, so I looked like a sort of 1970s stereotypical Arabic freedom fighter / terrorist, whatever you want to call them. And I was so I was reminding her of this when she was here. We're talking because they were here about a year ago, just after Halloween, and we're talking to my daughters about it. And I was like, "Oh, do you remember, Mum, that you dressed me up as an Arab for the Cubs?" And she was like, "I did not." I said, "You did." I said you put foundation on my face so I would look Arabic. And like, my daughters are obviously modern children, and that's just a horrifying thing to imagine. And my mum was like, "Don't listen to him, girls. That's absolute rubbish." So there's a lot. Sometimes there's very, 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 very few things that Christine does just reminds me of my mother sometimes, you know.
Is that also the implication? Maybe your mum's a bit horrified that you're telling this story in front of your daughters, who, as obviously they're modern young girls, so of course they're horrified by that. And she's like, no, I didn't do that, no.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's that, because she will challenge my daughter's modern sensibilities quite a lot, my mother, you know. So she will. She's very set in her ways. She's she doesn't understand a lot of modern nuance, shall we say.
You get that from the show as well. As you say, like a lot of the things start with Colin, and Colin does have a lot of things he says. Like the writer, Simon Carlyle, is obviously passed away. He was gay, and that's where a lot of like Ian's storylines come from.
Yeah. And
Colin does say quite a few things that could be classed as homophobic, but it's done in a way that it's poking fun at Colin and being ignorant. Like when he's saying things like it's nice to see Ian and Gordon in a mainstream venue, when he asks them if they met online or in a park, when he says that he went to a gay bar and he enjoyed it, but he didn't go to the toilet.
He was talking to a really nice Moroccan guy in a leather jacket.
Or when he comes back, when he's pissed in the pub and he comes back and he's telling Gordon, like, there was a guy in the toilet had his trousers around his ankles. You could see the lot. Like, it's just it's so inappropriate. But we all know people like that would say those things, thinking that they are being kind of forward thinking and that they are being, they're a man of the world. It's okay. But they're just saying the wrong thing and just completely putting it out there. But I mean, the implication is that Colin's not adverse to a bit of backdoor play either.
Cathy does allude to that, doesn't she?
Yes. Yeah, certainly does. And again, great. I mean, Jonathan Watson, fantastic in this. You know, he's a great actor. And it's similar. I mean, I watched a little clip of an interview him and Elaine C Smith did. I think last week or the week before, obviously to promote the stage show that was coming up. And I think it was Des Clark that was interviewing them on the radio, and he said, obviously, you know, God, you were in City Lights together, so obviously you've known each other for years. And they were like, well, actually, we went to like theatre school together, so we've known each other for years. And Elaine C Smith says, he tried to crack on to me, you know, like back in the day. And he obviously did, because Jonathan Watson was like, well, I was a lot better looking back then, so I thought I might have a chance. But they've known each other for years and years, and you
they were making videos together, weren't they?
Yeah, of course, yeah. You get the relationships there, but Jonathan Watson, just the facial expressions he gives, that Fish Friday, his pissed acting is phenomenal because he's just that right level of annoying, but he's not causing too much of a scene. But they're just wanting rid of him because he's pissed. But he's just wanting to be part of it and enjoy. And he keeps repeating the same things. It's exactly like a pissed person in the pub would be.
Exactly. Yeah. He keeps trying to sing happy birthday.
Yeah. And delivers the line of like, because he does kind of have a heart to heart with Gordon outside when he's asking how can you tell if someone's gay? I can sometimes tell lesbians, but not guys. And when he obviously says he's got the photo from Cathy and he's showing everyone and he says to Eric, I can't show you, it's a photo of Cathy's chuff. And like, you don't hear the word chuff used a lot nowadays, do you?
Why would you send me a picture of a flag?
But it must have pained him when they're doing kind of their party pieces and showing, and he does the shittest Sean Connery impression. Now, we obviously know how good Jonathan Watson is at impressions from doing Only an Excuse for so many years. And it must take it's quite a skill to do a bad impression of someone, knowing that you can probably nail that absolutely spot on. But it's wonderful that him doing that and kind of sending himself up in a way as well.
Yeah, he's brilliant. And when you think about the difference between the character of Colin and his character in Bob Servant, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Although I could imagine Colin having Ride on Time as his ringtone.
And the thing is, well, putting him together with Doon Mackican as a couple, it's kind of perfect because I don't know if she's particularly tall or if he's particularly short, but because she's so much taller than him, it just, as soon as they arrive, before either of them has said anything, you know that if you're watching that for the first time and these two characters appear, before they've said one line, you know that they're just funny. It's funny, right?
I think funnily enough, I've watched this as it went out. I've watched it countless times, so many episodes. I will stick on episodes just occasionally. And when I watched Eric's Colon, it did strike me so much when they come in and they're dressed up because they're going to go out for dinner. And Cathy's wearing like these big high-heeled kind of clogs. And she's like 2 foot taller than Colin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I know Jonathan Watson he's not the tallest, but I think Doon is quite tall, but like
I think she is, yeah.
Difference is incredible. And I was like, wow, it really took me back just watching that. And I think you're right. There are similarities in a way though to his character from Bob Servant, in that he is kind of put down upon and he does, everything that Cathy will ask him to do. And when he has to message his ex-girlfriend Yvonne on Facebook to get her to call him just to say he doesn't want to speak to her again. He says, never contact me again, you fake-titted bitch. Like, really bad, and he worships Cathy and does everything for her. He often makes Cathy an omelette if she's wasted and can't get anything solid down. That's, he puts up with so much. And you can imagine when they've been burgled and he finds the spunk and she's like, I want everything gone. Everything. Even then he's like, whoa, it's a bit hasty. But he's still going to go along with it and get rid of everything because that's what he wants to do.
I mean, Doon as Cathy, this might be her best run, I think.
Yeah.
That episode, the episode when they've been broken into, it's just her exclamations when she's like freaking out about, first of all, strangers being in their house, going through their things. Then when she finds out that somebody's wanked into her underwear, she exclaims, there's spunk all over my pants.
I want everything out of that house now. Every single pair of pants out of that drawer and into the bin.
Cathy, no, that's a bit drastic.
There is spunk all over my pants. What do you expect me to do?
Well, a boil wash and a wee bit of vanish, no?
She's so funny.
But yeah, she's still like obviously devastated at this and going over the top, but that's the same episode like Gordon's getting his trousers altered. And she's still like, no, you have to stay in bare legs. And she's still that. I think you're right. I think this is Cathy's peak because in the first series or so, she is still Cathy. But this series, it kind of ramps up. But then I think later series, it almost goes a bit too much. Because she does have Michelle to kind of as a rival.
But it goes a wee bit too far in the very last moments of the last episode of this series when she goes for the digger. That's a wee bit too. That goes a bit over the top, I think.
Yeah, I think her lines are just a little bit. I mean, I think that one of the peaks for me is the episode with Ian and Gordon when they've come back from Amsterdam early, and she's trying to listen in, and just it's very subtly done, but very well done. Wanting to know all the information, but yeah, she's just she's just an absolute force in every episode that she's in. When it's the physicalness she brings to the comedy as well. When she grabs that leek and she's pretending to shove it up Eric's arse when he's on the sofa. And Eric's not amused, and she's really pissed off that he's not finding this funny.
It's weird, the way she is with Gordon. It's kind of, it's kind of weird that she's got to give him a kiss on the lips and all that kind of thing. And then, she makes him, like you mentioned there, he's got to sit in his boxer shorts until his trousers are altered. He can't put his jeans back on. And then when she gets a bit upset and Gordon kind of moves to kind of comfort her, she's like, "Oh, can you not leave me alone for a minute?" or something like that. Yeah.
But she will have the odd sly dig at the Burns supper. So, Gordon, are you a vegetarian because you feel sorry for the animals or because you like the attention? It's, and it's a fucking, as a vegetarian, I could say that is a fucking brilliant line because it is, you do get that kind of stigma that you're just doing it for attention. But yeah, absolutely fucking brilliant performance from her. The only time you actually see her have a soft side is when Colin buys her the star for her Christmas present. And you do see a brief kind of like a tender moment, and you get to see kind of Cathy as a nice person and appreciative of the gift. Okay, she's a little bit like the big one, and he's like, no, too small. You can see her face drop a little bit, but she does love it. And okay, it's massaging her ego. She now has a star called Cathy, which is probably also owned by about 450 other people that they've sold that star to. But it still shows that she does have the soft side there.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing about her as well, you mentioned it before, like she's really physical. I remember when she was on Smack the Pony. And she was, a lot of the time, it's quite a lot of kind of physical humour. And in this, when she does the crab, in the living room, like in the Party Pieces episode, and she's able to do the crab and stick her and put one leg right up in the air, all that kind of thing, She's like, a really throwaway line of hers that really made me laugh was when she's talking about her house to Michelle. And they're talking about the hot tub, and she says, "Oh no, I had it drained after I saw a bird stick its head in it." You know what I mean?
I think I've said this before on the pod, maybe, but it was around about this time, series 3, 4, that the Two Doors Down was really kind of taking off, and everyone was watching it. And like my family were watching it, and other Scottish friends in Dubai were watching it that were friends of my family. My sister got called Cathy for quite a while because people thought she was quite similar. Now, my sister doesn't drink, so there's not that, but there are slight similarities I can see. The nice parts, but the bluntness as well. So things like do you feel sorry for the animals, or you just like the attention? But the great line from when you have Gordon kind of introduced, and it's the Burns supper night that Cathy's going mental about Yvonne, and Christine just turns to Gordon and says, "This happens a lot, Gordon. She goes fucking cuckoo with a drink." It's like they just all accept it, that this is what happens. This is just run-of-the-mill stuff for them. They see it every day. But it is just a regular thing. When Michelle says, I think I saw her coming out of a taxi at like 11 o'clock, stumbling. And Colin's like, "Oh yeah, she was at the yoga."
So this as well. So Christine says when she turns down a sandwich, and Christine says, Cathy says, "Oh, are you watching are you watching your carbs? Michelle says, oh, I do try to. And Cathy says, yeah, me too. Christy goes, apart from when she's hammered, then she's doing it with the chippy in her slippers.
But knowing you're doing welcome drinks, I would have invited you to ours.
Would you like a cup of tea, Cathy?
Or a wine, Beth, I'm easy.
There's a banana loaf about to make an appearance, Cathy.
Oh, none for me, thanks, Beth.
Are you carb-free?
Oh, I try.
I try too, Michelle.
So she's fucked with the drink, now she's doing the chippy in her slippers.
I think that's the genius thing. We never actually really see that side. We do see her pissed, but we never see that side of her, but it's mentioned a lot. And when she's giving Christine the bag, she's like, well, you might need to wipe it out. I had a kebab in there the last time I used that bag. Like, yeah. We get all these stories of drunk Cathy doing these things, but we never see them, which makes it all the better.
My favourite, like, she says to Colin, oh yeah, Colin, do you remember I saw that woman with the cock?
I guess that was on their trip to Amsterdam. Where, I mean, yeah, I do like that line when Colin says, oh, it's all drugs and sex shows and prostitutes. We're booked up to go in October. It's fucking brilliant. Yeah, wonderful from Cathy. I mean, obviously, it seems a shame, and I think this was kind of probably similar when we spoke about the first series. I mean, Beth and Eric, Arabella Weir, and Alex Norton, but, effectively, they are the main characters of the show, really. They are the ones that are in the promotional material. They are the whole point of them. Every episode really starts with them, and they are the main theme running through. But they're kind of almost forgotten about at times because they don't have those massive laugh out loud moments. They're not eccentric characters. They are, I guess they're our eyes into this world. Because they're just the normal people and they never, it's very rare they lose it. Eric snaps at one point in this series purely because his arse is in tatters and he's had to put up with all these people in his house, and then they're spoken about ordering a pizza. He's just like, no, get out. But then it bites him in the arse, effectively, because then he sits down in defiance and realises his sphincter is still in tatters.
Well, they're sort of they're kind of I suppose, the kind of straight man and woman, aren't they? Because, and a lot of the time, Eric is, he's kind of saying probably what we're saying, you know what I mean? Because the other characters abuse really Beth's hospitality so much because a lot of there are times when Eric's invested in the gathering, like the Bird Supper episode, for example, or when they invite Michelle and Alan over to get to know them and all that kind of thing. He's invested in that, and he's part of it, but. The kind of Christmas episode when they're looking forward to the kind of little quiet Christmas themselves. They've got the wee turkey crown and everything, and he's like Beth's inviting people because she feels sorry for them because Cathy and Colin have missed out on their flight because of a baggage handler or signal air traffic control strike or something, and Christine's on her own because Sophie's not there and all that. She feels sorry for them and invites them, and then Colin and Gordon end up being there as well, and there's not enough food to go around. And Eric's going to say all the things that we're probably thinking ourselves. Oh, don't ask them to stay. Yeah. Because we know that there's not enough to go around. You were like, come on, Beth. And he's saying it. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's saying what we're thinking. And the episode when he's laid up as well. And you are thinking, oh, God, leave this poor guy alone with his sore arse. And he's just saying, look, he's needs to all bugger off.
But yeah, it's the good nature of, what's coming. And it's a typical example of, Beth cooking the chips, Beth doing all of Cathy's washing. Because, she just can't stand to touch it herself. She does come in at one point and say it's like a Chinese laundry. And I was like, is that racist? Are you allowed to say that? Can you say that? Don't know.
Who knows?
But when it does try to, they do try to do something, like Eric, such a good soul, dresses up as Santa for Madison's first Christmas. And you're thinking, why is there a big burn mark in the beard? And it's Pat out the back was lighting a fag when she was wearing it, and it's gone on fire. And then, of course, goes on fire again later when he tries to light the Christmas pudding. But they're trying to do good things and trying to be nice people, but just these people just constantly interrupting them.
I mean, I think that they do feel like a really authentic couple at that stage in their lives, Beth and Eric. Right? One particular example of that is when is the Christmas episode and Christine's there with little baby Madison and Eric, and obviously their son is grown up and left and kind of flown the coop, and they're sort of empty nesters, and he's like, oh, I'll go and get that Santa costume and do something special for the baby, and it does feel like a really authentic kind of gesture that a couple who have raised their children and sent them off into the world, and they just taking a wee moment to do something nice for somebody else's kid. You know what I mean? It's just, they do. The only thing I sometimes think, there's only so much that Beth is going to put up with. They just agreeing to launder all of Cathy's clothes. That took a wee bit of a... You just think, there's only so much before she says, away you go.
Yeah.
Wash your own fucking clothes,
Yeah, she does just have to put up with so much. That's the thing. But yeah, there are a couple of points in the series where she does break, but it's not often. And yeah. But you're right, they are just such a genuine kind of nice couple. They're just happy with their lot. And, they poke little fun kind of at each other when they're speaking about renovations to the house. And Eric's like, oh, well, we got that new radiator. And Beth kind of gives a look of, as if she would probably like to remodel the house and stuff, but also, what's the point? They're happy with what they have, and they're nice surroundings, and they don't want all the stuff that Cathy has, which obviously doesn't use, because in the kitchen she doesn't know. Oh, I've got like the hose, like the restaurants, and look
There's
at
a
this
fan in here somewhere.
It's like when Michelle says she looks for someone a bit more functional, she's horrified by that. The great line, the toilet, that's functional. You do a shite and away it goes.
Yeah, because she's waiting. Like, she compliments Michelle's jeans, and she's waiting for Michelle to say something nice back to her about what she's wearing. She doesn't say anything. You just see her face, like.
And of course, she's trying to impress, like, oh yes, in a hotel in Dubai. Have you been to Dubai, Michelle? Michelle's like, yeah. And she's quite put out at that fact that, oh, she's been there as well. It's not a case she can show off. And that is as I say, I think that is the end almost of Cathy, because then she does become like a rival. Michelle is her nemesis, and a lot of her stories from going on are trying to one-up Michelle, effectively. And I guess, is that because Colin becomes quite enamoured with Michelle as the series goes on, but Cathy seems oblivious to that, really, and doesn't see her as a rival. Of course, I mean, Joy McAvoy, we spoke about Grado, but Joy McAvoy as Michelle, it's a brief kind of appearance, but she's really good in this episode.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think because I know her from subsequent series and episodes, I mean, she's not my favourite character, Michelle, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, she's fine. And it's a shame, because I do quite like Joy McAvoy, but I don't know if she's a great actor. You know what I mean? Like, Grado is... Wait, we've seen Grado in, like, Scott Squad, and he's really funny in Scott Squad. And he's really good in this. And I just think, maybe it's just the way that the character's written, to be fair to Joy, but I don't know. Like, I think I'd like a kind of better foil for Grado on it. She's good when she's kind of bossing them about. Yeah. And she's trying to get him to mind these P's and Q's and these airs and graces. Like, that's good. And that little dynamic works well, but I don't know, like, it's uncomfortable, the whole her and Cathy thing at points. It's not always that funny, and I don't know if that's just the way that the way that she plays it or the way that it's written. I don't know, but I'd forgotten that series 3 was there first. I always think of those characters coming in quite late.
Yeah,
but they're actually in like 3 series. And a couple of Christmas specials, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I think exactly the same. I think that they come later. I was quite shocked when was picked series 3, and then I was looking at it and I was like, oh, Alan and Michelle, they appear already. I thought it was like series 4 at least that they came in. I thought we had a little bit more of a run of just kind of the core characters, but obviously not. I guess speaking of the core characters, with Kieran Hodgson comes in as Gordon. Now, I think when we did series 1, I had said I'd kind of forgotten about Jazz, and I did say in the episode, like, I prefer Gordon. I stand by that, obviously. He is just fantastic. Nothing against Jazz. He was okay. A cracking bulge, apparently, according to Christine and Cathy. But Gordon just adds a different dynamic because, is it because, of course, he's English, or because of he's a bit awkward, but he's trying to make an effort. I love the fact that he's, calls Mr. and Mrs. Baird. When they're singing Happy Birthday to Beth, and she just, Happy Birthday, Mrs. Baird. It's like, it's so lovely. He's just this naive little guy, but he's a brilliant character. Absolutely fantastic. Plays it so well.
Because in some respects, he and Jazz have got a bit in common in the sense that they're both in the north of England. They're both kind of fish out of water in that quite Scottish dynamic. But Kieran Hodgkin, for the character of Gordon, he seems to take all the things that worked well with Jazz and sort of magnify them and kind of make them his own, really. But he does, like this sort of desire to kind of chip in and help out and not want to be too much trouble to Beth and all that kind of thing. I don't really remember Jazz being like that. That's that's all very Gordon, But like he plays awkwardness so well, and I tell you what, his brief performance as an American barista in The Flash, very, very good.
He's great. It was wonderful to see him pop up in that. I mean, I did think I meant to. I had a thought earlier this week, and I forgot to actually do it. Was to compile like a top trumps of Scottish actors that have been in superhero films. Obviously inspired by Matt Costello in Wonder Woman 84, Kieran Hodgson in The Flash. Yeah. You think of any others? Like I'm talking like, I'm not talking about a big like Brian Cox, like Brian Cox in X-Men or something. I'm talking about I guess Greg Hempel in Deadpool Wolverine is another one. Little sort of like I'd love to see like, I don't know, Bobby the Barman pop up in Doctor Strange or something like something like that. But I couldn't think of. I forgot to research and see, but I bet there's quite a few that. Yeah,
I'm kind of racking my brains really in terms of sort of kind of regulars on the Swally. I don't think there's been too many apart from the ones that you've mentioned. No one kind of springs to mind really.
I wonder if there'll be someone in like the new Spider-Man film, because I know I listened to another Scottish podcast, and one of the guys on that was like an extra in the new Spider-Man film. Played this New York cop. Didn't have any lines, but still got to be involved in the process. So I just wondered if, much like, because The Flash was obviously filmed in Glasgow, that's why Kieran Hodgson got the role of the American barista, if anyone like that would pop up. But I'll do a bit of research and see if I come up with anything, and we can talk about that maybe on the next episode. But yeah, Gordon is such a, as you say, it's the niceness of, he's round at his boyfriend's parents, so he's kind of on his best behavior, but he's trying to fit in. The only time he really not loses it, but you see the bit of is when him and Ian come back from Amsterdam, and he does you had his cock in your hand. No, you had his cock in your hand. Yeah, is a little bit of slap. There is an episode in a later series, isn't it, when he gets drunk, and
I think so.
Yeah, and I seem to remember that was very good acting. And of course, he tries to do his party piece of jumping over the hedge, which doesn't quite go well to plan. But it was lovely to have Gordon in this series, and to the difference. I feel bad for saying better than Jazz, but he is better than Jazz.
Yeah, he's definitely a lot more memorable as a character than Jazz, and I think they give him a lot. They give that character a lot more to do maybe than they gave Jazz as well. Potentially, and maybe that's why Gordon got they get him to do the hurdle at the end of the Party Pieces episode. He's got to jump over the bush. Cathy's trying to get him to run round the room and run up and down the stairs to show off how good he is at running.
Yeah, you're right. I think one of the main things, Jazz was always very kind of nervous. He always had like a nervous look. And I guess the character, he was signed off work with anxiety, and that led to, I guess, the kind of nervous looks. With Gordon, it's more of just the fish out of water kind of uncomfortableness, but they do make a point of it in the episodes when he sings 500 Miles.
Yeah.
And it was a great time, and he seems quite pleased with himself. And Colin says to him, oh, Jazz would never made of arse himself like that.
Yeah.
Everyone, and it is meant to be encouraging, good on you, but it also a little bit of a kind of barbed dig there as well.
Yeah.
Now, obviously he ends up with the actual haggis when they're having that. But I did notice that Eric uses the same knife to cut the normal haggis as the vegetarian haggis, so bit of cross-contamination there anyway, but never mind.
Yeah, I saw that as well. But yeah, you sort of see that coming. It's when you soon just see the big haggis on the plate and the wee haggis sitting beside it.
Yeah, you're just waiting. And of course, it has to be Colin that says, this haggis tastes a bit funny. It's a bit bitty. Yeah. You can definitely see that.
It's when they're talking about the carcass of the of the turkey or the chicken, and Christine says, "Oh yeah, you need to use the carcass got to save the carcass to make good stock." And someone says, "Christine, Gordon's a vegetarian." She went, "Oh sorry, skeleton."
I don't know why. I mean, I wouldn't be offended if someone was talking about a carcass or anything. It's fire in. That's okay. But yeah, lovely little way. I'd forgotten as well, just going through my notes, about the Jonathan Watson being pished, of course, in the pub. And when he says, just because Cathy's away, I'm no trying to fire into Beth.
Yeah.
I couldn't anyway unless I was really pished. Poor Beth.
It didn't because obviously that's not sort of parlance that I hear very often, having been married for over almost 20 years. But I remember my old flatmate when I first moved back to Glasgow. If ever I had been out, there was sort of two questions he would ask. Or two ways of asking the same question. If ever I'd been out on a date or something, or if I mentioned that I might have kind of pulled a girl when I'd been out the night before, he would either say, "You firing?" or he would say, "Buzz it."
How lovely.
It's
a long time ago. It's a long time ago.
Yeah,
it's different time. It's different time. It's okay to say that. So yeah, of course. Obviously, the show had gone through a little bit of an odd patch with Simon Carlisle passing away. Then wasn't kind of knowing what was happening. But of course, it is coming back for a Christmas show. And then, as we do now in Scotland for big shows, it is coming back as a stage show. It's going to be at the Hydro next September and October in Glasgow next year. So it'll be really good to see the sort of Two Doors Down live show. And it's perfect for a live show as well, to be able to do it in that environment. And I guess hot on the heels of Still Game doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the first Still Game at the Hydro show. No, I didn't see it in person because they recorded it. I saw it, they broadcast it at some point. I watched it on the telly. And it was that was them kind of reuniting, because famously Greg Hemphill and I almost said Gregor Fisher there. I can't remember his name. What's the
Ford Kiernan.
Jesus Christ, that's the cognitive decline. They sort of famously had a bit of a. I don't think they fell out, but I think they sort of stopped working together before they fell out, And I remember watching it and not really enjoying it because it was a stage show. So there was a lot of set pieces. I remember a bit with a big sort of Bollywood scene with everybody, and I was like, well, and a lot of kind of cheering when characters came on the stage and things. And there's something I find Still Game quite an intimate comedy show, but I think. Two Doors Down is even more intimate because it's they rarely in the course of an episode they rarely change set. You know what I mean? Yeah. They go from one room to the other. I think in this series there's hardly any. I think the only moment in this series where they change set in an episode is the last episode when they go around to Cathy's to show Michelle around their house. But in all the other episodes, it's all just in it's all where they start. You know, they start off well, the pub one, they're in the house for a minute, but mostly it's all just wherever they've started. Yeah. And I don't know, because I imagine that, you know, it's a beloved comedy show, especially in Scotland. You know, can I imagine, you know, like Christine walks out on the stage for the first time, there's a big cheer. Yeah. It's kind of weird. It's because there's no laughter track or anything on Two Doors Down. Still Game has got a laugh track, right? Yeah. Whereas Two Doors Down doesn't, you know?
I think you're right. And in terms of Still Game, it does lend itself. Like, I know I was the same. I watched the stage show, and it doesn't seem out of place, Jack and Victor coming out and talking to the audience in character.
A wee bit. Yeah,
that kind of works, but you're right. I cannot imagine anybody coming out and speaking to the audience for the Two Doors Down. So I don't know how it's going to work, but because it's Glasgow, everyone's going to be pissed up and wanting to enjoy and cheer and stuff, but yeah, I don't know how it's going to work, but I'll be very intrigued. And I wonder if we'll get to see it, if they will film it, or because the second Still Game live show, they never filmed that, did they? Well, it's never been broadcast. I'm sure it's filmed.
Apparently, they haven't filmed it, and they don't plan to broadcast it. But you never know. You know, I mean, if they did it the same way as the original Still Game show before they became characters on Chewing the Fat, you know, the first thing that we ever covered on the podcast 5 years ago, it might work better in that situation. You know what I mean? Because you've got that sort of intimacy, all the one set, all the characters kind of coming in and out, rather than, you know, this big bombastic sort of live show. Just, I don't know. I'll be interested to see how they go about it, put it that way.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the setup as well of how they have the stage laid out, because, of course, it's not as if there is just like one fixed wall in Eric and Beth's. The camera's always all over the place, everyone's sitting in different sides of the room, so it's going to be interesting, but yeah, we'll see if it pans out.
Yeah.
I did read a nice little quote about Simon Carlyle, who, you know, created and wrote and passed away, and Elaine C Smith was asked about him and said, obviously, you know, missed him deeply, and the show isn't show without him. And they said, but we reckon that Simon was actually, the way he'd written it was he was all three of the women in the show. Cathy was his drag queen persona.
Right.
Beth was the good person that he wanted to be inside. But Christine was who he really was.
Right.
And I like to think that. And maybe that's why Christine has effectively the best lines.
Yeah.
And is the funniest, because that's who he was in that way. So nice to hear that and to see. But
that's nice. So shall we put Two Doors Down Series 3 through the Swally Awards?
Let's go for it, Greg, of course.
So the first award then is usually our Bobby the Barman Award for the best pub. There's only one pub and it's the Fish Friday episodes where they take Beth out for her birthday. So I guess it sort of wins by default, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, looked like a Weatherspoons kind of pub. Like that, reminded me a little bit like the Foundry in Aberdeen or something, or pub like that. But we'll have a pint there, why not?
What was it called? Oh, the Granary, the Foundry was called. I mean, before it was the Foundry, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, the Granary.
See, I can remember that. I can't remember fucking Ford Kiernan. The next award then is the James Cosmo Award for being in all things Scottish. For me, I had to give it to Alex Norton, really, because I think he's the most prolific Scottish actor in the production.
Yeah, I mean, I think Watson would push him, but not that much, if you know what I mean. Norton, definitely. I mean, Jonathan Watson has been in a lot of stuff that, you know, we've covered. I need to double check, actually, the Swally tally. I think Watson's in the top three, you know, I think along with Norton. But when you think of things like The Silly Season, for example, Jonathan Watson in that, but for the amount of stuff Norton's been in, it has to be Alex Norton,
So next award then is the Jake McQuillan Your Tease Out Award. What did you choose for this one?
I mean, there's only really two things to pick from. I did put Colin falling off the chair and Beth's cake landing on the floor. But because it was kind of unexpected, you know, although you're kind of thinking when he's standing on the chair, something's going to happen here. And they do keep kind of focusing on the cake. But yeah, I went with that. What about yourself?
I had Eric's arse when he sits down heavily at the end of the episode.
Yeah, actually, that's better. Yeah, we'll go with that. That was good.
Next then would usually be the Hugh McGregor Award for gratuitous nudity, but as it's a sitcom on the BBC, nobody takes their clothes off apart from Kieran Hodgkin having his trousers off to get his measurements taken. So the next award I found very, very difficult to narrow it down, but that's the Francis Begbie Award for gratuitous language. Because, there's not like a ton of gratuitous language, so when the F-bombs drop, it kind of makes them all the more impactful. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's always said with purpose, with reason, to make a joke funnier, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so you got Christine is probably the best person at it because she's the kind of older character, the sort of granny-ish character, and when there's nothing funnier than a granny swearing, and it's the way that she's fairly well spoken most of the time. Like she's making an effort to be quite well spoken and everything, but then like that line I mentioned earlier when she's remonstrating over the price of the bacon that Ian's picked her up at the supermarket, and he's like, they're organic. She says, what does that mean? He says, well, it means that they're free to run around the farm. She says, I don't care if they're running around with Peppa Pig or fucking Cell. I think that might be my favourite.
I think that's one of, it was between that and I believe another one we've mentioned already on the episode. It's difficult not to. It's the whole build-up and reaction to it is when they're in the pub and she's interested asking what everyone's having, but it's because she's wanting to know in case there's something better than what she's had.
Yeah.
And when she asks Gordon about the sweet corn fritters and just the deadpan delivery when she says, that sounds fucking horrible, son. It's just, beautiful. Made me laugh so much. But the Peppa fucking Pig really just, loved that as well. But obviously, just give it to all of Christine's moments. I think probably the best use of swearing.
100%. Next then, archetypal Scottish moment.
What did you go for this?
It has to be the bird supper. Nobody else is doing that. You know what I mean? I was trying to think it was because sometimes I like to be a wee bit thoughtful and a bit sort of self-depreciating or whatever. But no, I thought it has got to be the bird supper.
I went with Burn Supper, but purely the line that start in the beginning, when Eric says about haggis, when someone thinks of Scotland, they think of haggis. And then Beth says the Proclaimers, heart disease, knife crime, heroin, and Greggs. It's like, thanks, Beth, you've just done my job for me. Write that down. There we go.
And then I fancy I know your choice, and I think it will align with mine. But the Big Tam Award, who wins the Series 3 of Two Doors Down?
I initially put down, and it's purely based on, I think, Fish Friday and some of the reactions, Jonathan Watson. Right. And then when I was going through my notes to write down the awards, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? It's Elaine C Smith. Of course it is. I've got a full page of Elaine C Smith's best quotes. Yeah. And she's the only character I've done that for. So it is Elaine C Smith. You take... I think we actually spoke about this probably when we did Series 1, because obviously in a later series, Cathy is missing. And you can take Cathy out of it and the show survives in a way. Yeah. I don't think you can take Christine out of Two Doors Down. No. And it would be the same at all.
And it's wild because she's not even in the pilot episode.
No, I know. It's bizarre. Yeah. But I think she's the glue that kind of holds everything together, and you can't have it without her. So without a doubt, it's Elaine C Smith that wins it for me. Just beautiful character.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. So if you want to watch Two Doors Down, you can find it on BBC iPlayer. I think all the episodes are there, and I'm sure you can probably buy them as well.
Apart from the pilot, unfortunately, I believe, which is still taken down because of dirty Kevin Guthrie. Yeah. So, it's a shame. It's a belter. But thankfully, I have it downloaded on a hard drive, so I will be watching that over the festive period, because I fucking love watching that show. But wonderful. Series 3 of Two Doors Down. Well, Greg, that was my choice. So, as we hurtle towards our Christmas episode on the next episode of The Swally, why don't you tell us what we're going to be looking at?
Well, I'll tell you why I'm not going to tell you. Because I can't fucking remember. So why don't you tell us because we did discuss it. So what did we agree that we're going to watch for our Christmas episode of the Culture Swally 2 weeks from now?
We agreed. Let me look up whilst I find. I know the name of it, but I was looking for a synopsis. We are looking at a 2020 film, a Christmas film, a Scottish romantic comedy when two strangers stranded in the Scottish Highlands on Christmas Eve team up to try and get home in time for Christmas. Starring Kenny Boyle, Natalie Clark, Sylvester McCoy, Sanjeev Kohli, and the lovely, lovely, lovely Claire Grogan. We're talking about the 2020 film Lost at Christmas.
That's right. So we are. We'll be well and truly in the Christmas spirit in a couple of weeks' time. Only, I think, 6 weeks until Santa comes. 5 weeks, I think, something like that. Not long.
It must be. I leave 4 weeks today, so yeah, I think it's like 5.5 weeks as we record this. When the show goes out, when the episode goes out, it'll be even less, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm off for another fucking dull evening of baseball, so I am. Hopefully it'll be more exciting than it was last night. What's your plans after you turn your computer off?
I am. We are going to watch this evening Lost at Christmas. Because I thought, how am I going to get through this? Because I watched the trailer and I was like, this looks fucking terrible. Spoiler alert. And I thought, you know what, this is the perfect time, because it's not often that I can say to my girlfriend, do you want to watch a romantic Christmas film? And she was obviously yes, and I was like, okay, great, we're going to watch this one, Lost at Christmas. So we'll see. And then that means that for the rest of the month I can subject her to Die Hard and Gremlins. So it's fine.
Yep, Die Hard, yep. No,
yeah, we won't.
It sounds like one that I'll be watching in my office at work when I'm supposed to be working, to be quite honest.
I think it's only an hour and a half long, so you're fine. Yeah.
Perfect.
So it'll be okay. Wonderful. Right, well, hope you enjoyed the show. If you would like, you can give us a little rating, review, subscription, wherever you get your podcasts. It would really help the podcast to grow. And if you want to get in touch with us, you can. You can email us on cultureswally@gmail.com with anything you've seen in the news you'd like us to cover, or any, if you just want to say hello, or if, whatever, I've really balls this up, but never mind, you know the drift. cultureswally@gmail.com. Greg, we have a lovely website as well, don't we?
You can get us at cultureswally.com with links to all our episodes and blog posts and articles all about Scottish television and film. Come and give us a bit of traffic.
Fantastic. And with the doorbell going, I now know that is the new filter for my vacuum cleaner, so I can go and sort that out. That is what I'll be doing this afternoon, Greg, filtering the vacuum cleaner and watching Lost at Christmas. You enjoy the baseball, sing along with the Addams Family theme tune, and avoid the fireball.
Until next time.
Till next time.
They're famous all over the world, Craig and Charlie.
Craig and Charlie who?
The Proclaimers.
Oh, aye.
It's same as Robert Burns. In fact, this is what Burns Night's all about, isn't it? Celebrating Scotland's contribution to the world, isn't that right, Eric?
Aye, that's right.
And just think about it. See, at this very moment, there'll be Scottish people in every town, in every country, in every corner of the globe, getting fucking hammered.